is the only one using that one. Matches with whatever the sponsor on the right shoulder is, the orange colors. I've never seen an orange microphone like that.
Could it be that he received an individual sponsor? Because that would be sick. That would be the beginning of a new era of League of Legends that we need to welcome.
I like the idea. Hopefully.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Have him make some extra bucks.
I don't recognize the headset. It's got these giant silver ears on it too.
Wait, it actually has like cat ears? I thought you were just talking about the...
like ear cover things. What do you call them on a headset?
Earmuffs? Is it earmuffs?
Kind of, I guess, but not really. Anyway, the thing that
I know what it is. Yeah.
Look at that, taking away some engage. As you know, you were talking about the Sejuani into the Kalista pick, but they'll go ahead and take that away as well as the Kalista.
It's already a deadly engaged Sejuani and Kalista. This is for a different version of the Zac and Kalista, not as powerful. But if ever decide to go with a Kog'Maw, Ella's going to be on Lantern duty 24/7 because you need to keep this Kog'Maw alive. I just have a feeling that we're not even going to get to that stage.
Well, if it goes like anything like game number 1, I mean, won't, but perhaps on blue side, Ever8 can concoct something, some kind of solution against KT. They will take away another one of these big engaged champions in the Jarvan, creating that front line. Oh. Okay. You can do it, Ever8. Fighting.
How beautifully optimistic. We hope they can do it. We hope they can give us something. And so far, this draft has been a lot better because Jarvan can protect for the Kog'Maw as well. And so they have drafted to the best of their abilities so far in order to counter whatever KT is to throw at them. However, the champion like Jarvan, I fully expect Smeb to be able to run away with this one if he gets his hands on a Renekton. It was banned last time around. Expect it to be banned here as well. However, that can be a Jarvan jungle still. And while that could work, it would also mean that Malrang has to be on point like crazy because Jarvan jungle does not get nearly enough gold as lane Jarvan, which, as we saw in the previous interview from Shy, he gives a lot of credit to that champion because of its synergy with the items. And so the pick in itself, not only does it struggle to clear, not going to have enough items, so he just has to pop up. And he has done that before, even on the Jarvan, but I just don't think it's the right solution to the wall of KT.
Yeah, I mean, you're also giving it to the red side that has first pick after the second ban phase. So if you don't ban it, it's a pretty good pick for KT right now if they want Smeb on it. It is available. They're going to pick up Talia instead, as they're giving credit to the Jarvan top.
It's curious to see that the two bans that Ever went for were LeBlanc and Kassadin, two champions that Talia would have a great time against. So either they're trying to beta Talia and go for something else. No, would you blind it into Talia mid?
Do it. Oh, that's, I mean, that's...
Yeah, he has played.
There we go, okay.
He played ASOL before in the past, and it was not successful. It's a champion that is very, very difficult to play. So many teams struggle with it, and legitimately, the only player that has and continues to surprise on Aurelion Sol is Huhi on CLG in North America. I don't think that you can point anywhere else to CLG for utilizing that champion to its full. It's almost always they walk away with a win, and that's why it's a champion that is so unlike anything else, that takes so many hours, so much commitment to make it work, that a mechanically proficient player like Septed might not be able to make it work.
Yeah, we were talking a bit about the Jarvan jungle too. With the last pick Jax, that means probably going to have Jax up in the top lane and the Jarvan in the jungle. We haven't seen jungle Jax in, I don't know, maybe since Crumbs played it.
No, we have seen it before, but the thing is, once again, Ever feels like they're spreading themselves too thin. You have Aurelion Sol, sure, who can help the side lanes, but that means that lane needs attention. The Kog'Maw needs attention. Thresh is not going to be enough to keep him alive when you're laning against Deft and Mata, who previously got first blood in a 2v2. Then you need the Jax, who you once again have to help tremendously, and he's up against Camille and Taliyah out of all champions. I have no idea how Keen is going to be able to survive this lane post level 6 when you can just combo Weaver's Wall, Hextech Ultimatum to pay a visit to the top side and just get yourself some free gold.
It's a cool composition to deal with anything in the top lane when you are on that red side. Just cut him off. Hopefully he doesn't leap strike that. And you do get him in the Hextech Ultimatum first. You got to make sure that you execute the play as well. So excited to see Septed back on A-Soul. We'll see if it works out for him. Keen's giving it a try on Jax. I mean, as I said before, this is as good a time as any to get some practice in against one of the best teams in the world. Might as well do it when you don't have a chance to avoid relegations.
Absolutely, but they're up against a heavily contested draft from KT. We have seen all 5 of these picks be constantly panned or contested over. So Ever is trying to concoct a early game champ strategy here with Ignite on Aurelion Sol.
We'll see if it works out for them, jumping into game number 2 of KT versus Ever8. They still got their fans, even if they don't have much else.
Ride or die. That's the attitude.
They're not hopping on the SKT train, no Samsung train, none of that. They're still with the wieners, and I do like it. It's good to see that. Got to stick with the home crowd. Do like to see the ice hockey skin on Jax too.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a really cool skin. I also like this. I know you love this, Crumbs. I'm getting the zoom in just for you.
My God, how?
Although that dance isn't very cute.
He's hideous. Turn him into food.
Oh boy. I want to see this Aurelion Sol versus Taliyah matchup. Don't get to see it too often.
Let me tell you how it goes. Both sides pushing relentlessly. That's pretty much it. They're just going to try to push.
I see. A little bit less exciting than I was expecting.
Yeah, you just auto and push as much as you can. Look at a pawn. He's trying to auto attack on command, trying to make sure that he can keep up with the passive pushing that Septic can pull off. However, Taliyah does have great wave clear tools that can also harass you a little bit more in your face than what Aurelion Sol does.
Septic trying to link there with Pawn. Not going to happen just yet. 2 hit first for Pawn, so he'll have the advantage when pushing.
And there you go, just farming all throughout, and you got to keep your eyes out on Malrang here out of all players because he needs to be making things happen. And it looks like he's got his sight set on the top side as he's now moving up, doing a Scuttle Crab, and perhaps will rotate to get a gank there for Keen. Easy setup with Jarvan and Jax.
We'll see if he goes up there right now or just tries to invade onto score.
Oh,
just level 3.
Oh,
the flag,
damn.
He's getting everything. And he's going on score too. Score, he wanted the Raptors. That's a big mistake. Gonna slow him down and flash away, but not the best start here for our KT jungler.
It's my jungle, says Malrang. He doesn't even hesitate. He's like, I'm going in. This is mine, not yours. Takes the red buff, takes the Raptors, gets KT, scores Flash, and his dignity by that one too. It just took all of it and even gets the blast cone out for style points.
We were talking about Malrang's early presence. It's not just his team that helps him out, but himself. I mean, he's got some great routes. He knows exactly where score is going to be, gets in there right at the exact timing, and makes it work.
Oh, Keen's thinking about getting greedy there, trying to go for those extra CS. If he leaves the lane now, he will be met with a freeze, and that's what he's trying to avoid, but he's low enough, doesn't have Jarvan quite ready to assist him. He has some deep vision, but he still has not seen Sejuani and where she's at.
See Smeb going aggressive here, even level 3 to level 4. Keen really having trouble with this, but there's no ward down. Here comes Malrong.
This should be a good and easy read for KT. Keen would not stay this low if there was not backup right there.
Oh, he's trying to bait it in, and Smeb will flash away, but the flash in from Keen. They do get the stun down. One more hit will do it. First blood goes over to Jax.
Oh, Smeb autos Jarvan instead of Jackson. Misses out on first blood and potentially walking away victorious on that one. A good attempt there from Smeb to try to salvage the situation. The flash on Jax gets a stun at the end, but oh, he almost had it. He almost outplayed it.
Got to take a look at the replay for that one. You can see they're trying to bait as he is in vision.
Watch.
The one auto he hits. Yeah,
that was the pad. That was a Q auto. That would have been it.
Yeah, he would have killed him. Not sure if he would have gotten away. Jarvan did have red buff, but first blood would have been fantastic. And now Keen with first blood and no flash on Smeb. He's just going in. One more empowered auto attack. He was close.
His leaf strike is back up. Doesn't fancy going in for another attempt.
Well, not yet. Smeb really needs that regen. We're seeing the bottom lane duo go head-to-head here. Seems like Keen went in again, but he ate a lot of that minion aggro, those attacks, so he did get pretty low too.
That's actually such a smart ward for Smeb in that laning situation. So he places the ward in a location where most likely Keen will be trying to chase or retreat after a trade. That way the minion aggro can stay onto him as long as possible, and so his trades are swaying a little bit more in his favor as opposed to what Keen would like to do. And it's those little things that allow you to put yourself in a situation where you might not be strong enough to 1v1, but you can certainly continue to lane and get control of the wave.
That's a really cool point, actually. Wouldn't really think about that. Surely a high-level move. And they were trying to get Smeb to hit 6 for the Hextech ultimatum, but couldn't quite get it. And so the gank will not come down onto Keen. You could see that Pawn was making his way up, and they had placed a control ward in the river to facilitate that kind of play, but no can do, not just yet.
Facilitating that, they have also allowed Pawn to rotate to the top side, to crash the wave, to not let Keen go for a freeze, buy Smeb some time to recall. Now Jax gets to base immediately and gets to refill his items, stay back in it, start building towards that phase, and it's looking good for Ever this time around. Keen has been showing up in lane. He has been laning well. He has received attention from his jungle and eventually the top side as well. So there's a lot to hope for here for this Ever lineup. However, they failed in their matchup against Samsung to go for a 1-3-1. And I think that they are aware of the causes for that failure.
Uh-oh, Keen. He can easily get ultimatums here. They're trying to go for it. They're going to lock him up first with the Sejuani. He is caught and is going to be stunned. He's trying to trade back, though. That was close. Smeb will get away with his life and the kill. And now they're going on to Mata here. He's alone in the jungle. Not much he can do. Going to get hooked up. Intercepted, and that should be another easy follow-up for them.
And that's great that the kill goes over to the Aurelion Soul, making up for the possibility of not being able to roam. And immediately they cut off Kalista from the bottom side as well. Now it's going to be a turret trade, though. KT is going top side, but there is no answer on the side of Ever. So they trade a kill and the blue buff for losing that first break.
Yeah, even Pawn coming in here. They want to make sure they can get this as soon as possible. And it is going to go down. They will split up that first blood turret gold amongst the 3 members. Ever8 is going to have to take this one in the trade. Down it does go. This game is a lot closer.
It's curious to see that it's the Aurelion Soul doing a lot less of the roaming this game. Taliyah has been much more present around the map, so a good use to pop that blast gun at the end. But the second that he sees Aurelion Sol with his E up. He knows that flashing over the wall is not going to keep him alive. So he gracefully accepts death, doesn't burn a single summoner, and then continues onwards with a defensive ward.
Got caught slipping, looking for those wards. Oh, that stun almost landed. Pawn coming in here. He's playing with fire. It's going to be linked up, and Smeb is here. So Septid, not having the vision, will back off.
Smeb just continues to look for a play on the map. He needs to wait for the wave to crash into the top set. And I'd like to see Ever put a lot more focus onto the Jax. In fact, pretty much every team that plays Jax, I would always like to see them play around these carries. But instead, they have drafted enough other win conditions that they cannot rely on Keen entirely. So it feels like Keen is more of a fail-safe or a backup plan than the initial way that this team wants to win out the game, because they are following the dual lane. They are just letting Septid, instead of roaming around the map, to just have a presence in mid lane, to not get pushed in and dove relentlessly. And so that means that this team is going to make a lot more happen around the bottom side, in which a champion like Sejuani, if she hits a proper ultimate, will make a much bigger influence on these fights than what the jungle Jarvan can do.
Having a bit of a trade here. There's too many minions for Smeb really to go in. He's also a level down, as he hasn't cleared out all those minions. Did pick up his Tiamat.
Standing on a ward.
Classic.
Whatever needs to be utilizing this pressure on the lane. They've got the tier 1 bottom lane. This could transition into a Infernal Dragon quite quickly, but instead they're just lingering around river, waiting to respond to what KT's trying to do, but they might not be able to respond to Keen.
Ooh, nice dodge there by Keen. He wants to get the kill onto Smeb if he can. You can see Smeb isn't comfortable to take the fight just yet. Finally, when that counter-strike does come down, he will, and Malrang gets there a little bit too late. We'll just have to back off with his tail between his legs. But as I say that, in comes Septid. Mata's making his way too, and Malrang goes alone. The flash away. The Voice of Light totally misses. As Smeb is able to dodge. Down will go Malrang eventually. Nice Glacial Fissure there. Is going to pick it up somehow, some way. Septid does pick up the kill onto Smeb. And it looks like Score and Mata alone can't take out this Aurelion Sol.
And I have to say, I feel like Ever just simply cannot believe that they are getting these leads against these teams, that they are putting themselves in a position where they can snowball, when they can get more, when they can get things that allow you to win. The morale seems to have such an influence over their play that they're not seeing the opportunities available to them. They're simply playing completely reactionary to what KT's doing. And it's disheartening to see, because this team has been showing so much. And here's one example where he gets the dash out of Smeb. That's cool, but unfortunately Sejuani is already here. And with so many of the crowd control abilities that she can just layer on top of Jax, Smeb didn't stand much of a chance. But see, now you have Jarvan going in. Instead of calling off the player, maybe even going for an Infernal at this time, they just send everybody back up. Hey guys, KT's up here. We got to go to this party. We can't start our own.
Lands that Ignite and a couple more ticks of the Celestial expansion, so that is how Smeb made it down. But yeah, it definitely looks very disjointed on the side of Ever8. You know, they try to go for plays or just try to react, as you were talking about, and don't get there in time. Rend goes off into the attack, it looks like, of Score. Didn't even smite. Perhaps was slightly off, but that's a nice Infernal Drake going over to KT.
And because there wasn't anything else that KT was doing, Ever just chooses to try to go for a steal because they didn't set up anything else. And boy, I wish we could just give this team a surge of confidence to see what they could be capable of. Because when they first started, we were like, whoa, this team could be doing so much. I can't believe it. This brand new challenger team, what are they all about? Right? We had Septid with incredible KDAs. Oh my God, the Syndra has to be permabanned. So much was hyped around this team, but ever since the first losses started coming through, it felt like the nail just got deeper and deeper in their hearts, and unable to remove it. And now we see them going with these different compositions every once in a while, try to have something that can breathe them some life, but It's the play.
Okay, they're looking for Malrong here, using all of that CC, but he takes the Lantern away. Fate's Call even coming in. Can they finally kill him? Yes, they do. But here comes Smeb, trying to get a couple more kills. Keen by himself on the left. Tons of AoE damage being done by Septed, and the Kog'Maw from afar doing some nice poke. Can they get any of these kills? Doesn't look like it. They will just have to let them go.
And that was so close, and Keen could have utilized that situation to get himself further ahead from Smeb. He needs the gold that has Jax, but once again, we see the syndrome of trying to help everybody else out on your team when you're a split pusher. Smeb can teleport in because a Camille offers more to a team fight than what a Jax does. But for Jax to be doing it, not so much. Here's KT waiting for the move that Ever's going to make. And as soon as Jarvan comes in, they're waiting for the damage dealers, and bam, they pull in the trigger. Even though the Q misses from Brahman, they would have liked to lead with that. The Glacial Fissure comes through right away with the ultimate of Kalista. But what's big here is the Voice of Light from Septa to get Camille out of that fight. But look at what Jax is offering, right? He's not doing anything. He's getting some damage, gets Pawn and Burn his flash, but wouldn't he have been more useful pushing the wave topside, getting some minions, potentially threatening a tower?
Uh-oh, red buff here for Deft, and oh boy, okay. We'll get out there with the Lantern. Thankfully, Ella was in position. But danger spot, has to blow both of his summoners to survive. We are seeing Septed quite farmed. He is a little bit behind on CS, about 20 behind this Talia in the mid lane, but does have a couple of kills already.
He's got his completed GLP already. Get that extra slow and damage in. It's going to be useful against Kalista.
Yeah, definitely will be. Trying to slow her down. Get her to take a little bit more damage. Stay in the fights. Stay close. But I'm not sure that Septed by himself can really carry this team. They do have those super late game threats. The Jax, the Kog'Maw, and a decent front line to protect them at the same time.
Well, at the time that the Aurelion Sol compositions were at its peak, where the whole world was trying to play Aurelion Sol, a lot of it revolved around the Aurelion Sol serving as a big zoning tool with the Rylai's, with the GLP, with so much AoE. Oh, nice flash from Smeb. Is his E up? And he gets over the wall. But so much of it revolved around Aurelion Sol being a peel for Caitlyn at the time as a hyper carry, where between Aurelion Sol and Caitlyn, the zone control and the inability to bypass a Sol with his AoE that always builds up, that somehow amounts to high damage numbers at the end of a fight, it meant that your carry has so much room to deal any damage, because he himself also has two huge peels between his ultimate and his Q. So when the compositions come head-to-head on a 5v5, which likely will just be a 4v4 with the two top laners TPing randomly in, then Aurelion Sol and Kog'Maw, if they can maintain a solid foundation, not get hit with the knock-up from the Fate's Call, which is going to be harder to avoid than the Sejuani ultimate, then they can have a legitimate chance of winning these fights, because the Kog'Maw damage in late game, we are all quite aware of just how devastating it can be.
Yeah, it'll be all about surviving for him. You were talking about Ella's kind of role in this game, the Lantern bot for Duel. Here he will do it again. He's going to actually bring him straight into the Sejuani ultimate. And Ella's the only one that's going to go down, though. But as I say, that Duel also a little bit too close. That's a double kill going over to Deft. He's going to eat a bit of damage from that poor Kog'Maw, but nice little lead gained here for KT.
Ever going through a stroll of a dangerous river. Piranhas lurking there, and they get caught right away. They have no vision. They got confident that with the tier 2 boots and the dark passage, they would have been able to get out, but it's just a bit of a greedy route. Instead of taking it the safe way, they go a different route. And then Duel's like, maybe should I take this lantern? Oh, why did I take this lantern? It's knocked back, and at this point, he's already too far in. Death flashed in to secure the kill with the Blade of the Ruined King, keep him locked down in auto attack range, and now KT starting to run away with it.
Yeah, they're looking good again. It wasn't accelerated as fast as game number 1, but definitely trying to get their carries ahead in this one at the same time. Talia doesn't have any kills, but does have 1 assist. But really, it's going to be the Callista's show, already 3-0. And we're seeing what this Camille can actually do against the Jax, especially before Jax gets super out of hand. Has a good time trading after that stun.
Well, an advantage that Jax will have in this matchup is that the point he's looking for is when you have enough items that you can stand, survive the entire combo of Smeb, which, to be fair, has a short cooldown, but you need to survive it to the point where you can stand there, stay still, build up your attack speed stacks, your fervor stacks, and just wail on them because your attack speed is higher, your passive from your ultimate lets you do more damage, and that's what he wants to go for. But unfortunately, they're never going to allow that. Camille and Sejuani seem to just have a permanent ticket to visit that lane.
We got this Rift Herald coming out here from Camille in the bot lane. They're actually not even going for the middle lane push, as a lot of members of Ever8 were grouped up. So it's just going to be Smeb alone. The teleport came in from Keen to try to stop this, but it's him alone. So I think this turret should be able to go down. You can see Jax really trying to get at it. Bet that Rift Herald it is. And it was pretty close. Cannon's still going at it. Looks like it is going to survive.
Smeb can't walk up closer. Any autos that he wastes on the tower and Jax uses on him would result in a loss, but here comes the team fighting Jax once again.
Look at the Weaver's wall. I mean, they just zoned 2 people out, and the rest of the team is coming in by themselves. Keen is going to get locked up all by his lonesome. Ella tries to come in and save the team. There's a big slow. The ult doesn't quite land for the stun. But that's the Infernal Drake and another kill. KT still in full domination of this series.
I am just so heartbroken every time I see Jax trying to take team fights. It's not a team fighting champion. It's like if you're using a mountain bike to roll down the street to go for tours on flatland. Like, what are you doing? Or like you're mountain biking with a Tour de France bicycle. That's more like it, because that just sounds dumb.
The wheels pop on a rock on your first time up the hill.
Your entire frame breaks right away.
It's basically what we're seeing. And it's not just one team. I mean, it's MVP that debuted the team fighting Jax.
So the rationale I'm thinking is that the teams that are doing this are the teams at the bottom, right? It's MVP, it's Ever. Okay, why are these teams doing it this way? Well, a big part of the Korean kind of way of playing the game that is even apparent in solo queue is that you need to be a part of every fight, right? In solo queue, they'll join you. Even yesterday, I believe, actually 2 days ago, when we saw Jin Air against KT, where KT had a Yasuo run from bot lane to top in the start of a fight just to be a part of it. He didn't teleport, he just walked. Took a 30-second walk to make it up just to join that fight. And so when these teams at the bottom are faced with the decision to join, when they're struggling with communication issues, with teamwork, with cohesion, with helping each other out, and maybe even trust, a big part of it that gets taught is you need to just help your team out. You need to be a team player. Everybody needs to be a team player and step up in the right direction. And then you add the mix of Jax being a strong meta champion. It often falls flat on its face because these players are likely to have contradictory information to what the champion is supposed to be played, to what the way that they're being taught to play the game.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying, it should just be in the bottom lane, farming up as fast as possible, trying to hit 2-3 items so he can duel with Smeb, and then just pushing. Letting his team play defensive, trying to stop Barons potentially, but maybe even let it go if you have to. And we're just seeing KT pick them apart. I mean, Smeb's ahead. He's going for this fight. He is going to get stunned up, though. We'll see if this was a mistake. He does get another stun, but there's the flash from Keen. Running into the bush is Smeb, and it looks like no kills will come down.
Close duel. That kill, had it happened for either side, would have likely dictated the next 10 to 15 minutes in this matchup. So it is wise that both players chose to get out of that one, to not stay in. Smeb chose to take the fight on the leap strike, on the stun, but ended up paying with his own flash.
Scores going in, and you can see that Ever8 is trying to engage onto him, but he's just too tanky.
And he's fine to take this chunk damage. Sejuani already has the built-in resistances with her passive. So the build of going with Warmogs early, here comes a Fate's Call.
Not going to work. Duel in good position. Not pushing too far up that lane.
He had to burn his flash, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, got that summoner out of him. Always going to be a good trade. They find Ella here, and he's going to be slowed down, too. Poor Thresh. Under the turret, not going to survive.
Now that Thresh is dead, the chance of checking these brushes dwindles. Only Jarvan can check with his flag. You've got Kog'Maw with half mana that can check with his Bio-Arcane, but that's risky. You need that mana for these fights, and you don't have any Lantern to get out, and Sejuani's ultimate is still available. KT is not going to push the issue and try to go for a Baron bait or anything. Instead, we're going to look at this 1v1.
Smeb, he's baiting him in. He one step to come down, but he's too late. Smeb went in a little bit too early, couldn't get away in time. And that's the duel. That's why you put him down there alone. You force that 1v1.
Exactly, and now this means that Smeb is in trouble. Jax has shown that he can clearly beat Camille. Saw it the first time around. This time we solidified it, even though Smeb failed on his bait, but the itemization will start to go to Keen's way. The Jax, as he continues to get stronger, offers Ever a bit of relief. They can stop these 4v4 engages from being threatened as often. They can buy time for their cooldowns, like their big flashes to come back up. It's particularly onto duel. And here comes Pawn. He's trying to take a piece of Jax, but no avail.
It's really hard to challenge this guy 1v1. You have to be so sure. Pawn had to burn both the heal and the flash to survive that one, and he still almost died. Just leaves you wondering, where was this a little bit earlier? I'm glad that they're doing it now. Perhaps they wanted to wait until he got some items, but not 100% sure what's going through their minds when they're playing this Jax.
Well, it's so difficult because when you play these split push compositions, you traditionally, outside of them, you know that everybody's providing an imminent, obvious win condition or something to help your win conditions work, right? You have the tanks engaging, you've got the support supporting, your ADs and mages dealing damage and utility, but when you have this split push, Smeb is basically useless. All he has to do is, I have to hold Jax. Okay, I trust you four to go for an engage. So it becomes a matter of these four trying to get a fight, whereas Jax trying to get a 1v1 kill or drawing up attention. But that attention has to be found with so much damage.
Pawn, he's going to get caught here by Scepted in the river in easy 1v1 as he lines up the stun and the Voice of Light. And with no summoners here for Pawn, he just gets jumped on.
The forest or the river of death, as now 3 players have been murdered in it.
It's very grim.
Well, it's true.
It's true. They're calling it like it is. And at least Keen was able to stop KT from having 3 Infernal Drakes. Things are beginning to look around for this team as the Jax is working. They take away an important Drake. They're getting kills elsewhere on the map.
And this is a really smart itemization from Keen. It is infinitely better to go for the Blade of the Ruined King as opposed to the Hydra when you're going for a 1v1. Against Camille, sure, she already has more AoE damage than you do, so it's much more important that you secure yourself winning the 1v1s. You're not going to be looking to team fight, and at least I have the hope that with this build, he's going to recognize, or at least has recognized, that he is all about the 1v1, and as long as he can continue to kill Smeb, he's going to put the rest of his team in a positive position.
You can see at this point, Smeb isn't really staying in lane for all that long. He pushes it down to about halfway, and then he looks to join his team. See if they try to force a 5v4 before the teleport comes in from Keen. Looks like Ever8, they're just going to play it passively. They don't have all too much vision around the area, but they're not going to start face-checking these brushes just yet. They want to have Jax push in first, force Smeb on over. and then perhaps look for these plays.
And I want to highlight just how strong the Blade of the Ruined King is in swaying the 1v1 matchups. At Rift Rivals, we saw the Renekton into Kled, which was previously thought to be a Kled winning matchup, as both would go with the same itemization of Cleaver into Hydra, into the Titanic Hydra, not the regular one, or the Lifesteal one. And instead, Cube went for Blade, or Cleaver into the Blade, and was able to 1v1 the Kled multiple times. You basically can convert matchups that were typically not in your favor to be heavily for you. And unfortunately, to go for a tower dive, he's just not tanky enough to do that just yet against Smev, but he's getting to that point.
He's also putting the pressure on even if he's not diving the turret. He's forcing that wave all the way back. He just picked up a ton of gold. But look at this. Actually, Smev is going to TP first, and the wall comes down. Build that wall, sir. There's really not going to be any chance for Ever8 to come in here as a team. As I say that, though, the wall comes down, and in goes Malrang. He can't get the steal against that Ren. No way, no how. And they're trying to get onto Pawn here. Keen jumping in, and he gets away with his life. Even in the Hextech, he gets a double kill, and Duel was totally protected in the back the entire time. They're able to pick up 4. At least KT could keep the Baron, but that's 4 good kills for Ever8.
That was a beautiful audible there from Ever8. You have Septed, who goes over the top, utilizes his E to get into the fight. The wall was sick. It was a great idea from KT, but it's Infernals. It's not Mountain Dragons for them to push. Then Ella flashes into Lantern Jarvan in, because Jarvan could have easily comboed in, but if he combos into that fight, there is no chance of a steal. The team fighting presence goes down. Smev fancying a kill on Malrang. Oh, he's so dead.
Yeah, he's going to even back here. Smev going to wait until the last possible second, and Malrang just going to be wasting his time a little bit. He's going to knock him up, but this is Camille we're talking about. Trying to line it up. There's a kill. Finding what he can.
Well, yeah, the heads-up play from Ever in that fight was sick. Everybody went in. Duel had to wait on the side, but because KT committed so hard to the Baron, because they thought, oh, we'll be able to burn this down quickly enough, they didn't realize that they bought enough time for the rest of Ever to put themselves in a position that they could take the fight, and Kog'Maw was basically free hitting the entire time. So here it comes. The wall is out. Septed actually uses the blast cone, so he initially got in range with E, and Keen is here, but they're so far back. Kog'Maw is going to approach this fight and just wreak havoc. It's auto after auto, spell after spell, and Jax can tank so much in this position because while Talia gets eliminated right away, Kalista and Camille can't do anything to hit this guy with the second maxing of Counter-Strike. Means that Jax is a much more powerful force to be reckoned with when you don't have heavy APs to kill him right away.
It was cool how he flashed the wall too, and someone followed him over, but then he just leap strikes in for the double kill. Really heads up play there by Keen. It'll be cool to see the true potential of Jax as people begin to play him more and more. I think we're getting close to the top potential, but again, as you were saying, teams still trying to figure out split push versus team fight and exactly where to be on the map. But we'll get there.
We see some fights go well, we see some split pushes go well, but typically the issue with Jax is that a lot of times what you see that he can do can be accomplished with other champions, and while the rewards may be high, at the end the reward that you really want is just a win. So it doesn't matter too much if it's a Jax, if it's a Camille, if it's a Fiora. But now Keen is level 17 with a Randers, and the engage comes out.
Okay, they're looking for Ella here, and Lot's going to be used onto this Thresh. Even the Glacial Fissure comes in. The rest of his team just leaves him hanging. They're like, hey man, you got out of position, we can't save you. And down he will go. Doesn't look like they're going to push the inhibitor in the bot lane. With the Baron of Camille, they're actually looking to take mid, which is definitely very interesting. Only 17 seconds left on that Baron. The wall comes down. They're zoning them out for now. They don't have this Thresh to help in the engage, so they're just trying to let Septed do the work. Takes a bit of burst damage, lands the stun, but 4v5 right now is going to be hard. They land that onto Keen. He's getting incredibly low, but the Counter-Strike comes in. They get onto that backline, but finally he does go down, and Malrang is also going to eat it too. That is 2 more kills. Going over to KT will be at least this inhibitor.
They can try to end here, and I think they're going to go for it. Score has a Warmog, so he's perfectly okay to do this. They're going.
They do get that hook, but immediate QSS comes out. He's going to be totally fine in this one. Kog'Maw still a little bit scary. A nice wave clearing out of Scepted means that they cannot get a Nexus turret.
They threaten it and back out. And the cool thing was that using that Weaver's Wall meant that champions like Aurelion Sol, who might find Smeb, no, he's okay, can't go for wave clear because he relies on being so present. A pick like Victor Orianna can easily clear over, but with this Weaver's Wall, he has no chance of clearing the wave. Kog'Maw needs to save his mana for the fight, not for a wave clear here, and so when the fight comes out, he has to run away from the Glacial Fissure, but just notice, he's autoing Sejuani's. Auto. Then comes the Gargoyle Stoneplay. Oh crap, I can't even finish him off at this time. And it looks like we might have found our answer to these crazy hyper carries that are single target. Just have a heap and helping of HP and you can survive and buy enough time for the rest of your team to clean house.
It's definitely a cool idea. We might see some more Sejuani in the jungle, especially as more patches come through. I know people have been talking about tanks in the jungle in 7.14. We're not there yet. Not exactly sure when we will have 7.14, if it'll be next week or the week after. I think it would be the week after. Came out pretty soon. Not 100% on that, guys. But either way, KT still looking to push against this. At least Ever8 is giving us a real game. You know, they're actually standing up to this top team. And they show glimpses where they actually do have a chance and they play very well. It's just about the overall consistency, doing it every single time, and also finding a way to close out the games when they get ahead. As we've seen, they have tons of trouble with that.
Exactly. It's these glimpses that we want to see them improve, and this is why you have teams that might be 1-10, but why do they still have fans? Well, because you have people that believe in them, that they are going to be able to bounce back, to harness the goods that they show in a game and utilize that to somehow improve, to be that consistent. And that's what gives people hope for a lot of these teams. And so when you see these teams have those moments where, oh yes, they're able to beat KT in a team fight. Oh yes, they went for an out rotation. This was such a clutch play. Keen 1v1ing Smeb, that was awesome. All these other things that are happening in their favor, it gives us hope for this team to improve. It's unfortunate that it's not being met with the results that I think everybody's kind of expecting with what we initially saw from this team. But then we also have to downgrade our expectations perhaps a bit because they set themselves high from what they saw in week one. But after all, everything happened in week one, and it is just a brand new challenger team.
That is true. They're trying to make strides here more than anything else, trying to get as good as possible before relegations. Those really hungry teams in Challenger trying to make their way up. Look at this, KT coming from the left side. The wall comes in, Scepted. He's going to be totally locked off. And Ella all by himself again. Balrog, he takes the lantern, it looks like. Comes on in, going to get stunned for ages. But look at Keen going 1v1, trying to get onto Pawn. Down goes another member, and Pawn is a lot more worth than Ella at this point.
Hero Keen, they're keeping Pawn busy. Deletes him from the fight, and now KT can't just blindly turn onto a Baron. It's going to be a 4v4, and as you said, Ella's basically worthless to them at this point. He has been getting caught out left, right, and center, and he's just a lantern bot. A face check comes.
Oh! Oh, look at the play! The Voice of Light comes in with the big engage. Scepted, though, in a lot of trouble. He will go down, and Keen can't finish him off. Jarvan, too, not alone. Can Keen go 1v3? That's the answer. Oh. He gets one. He's looking for more. Can he take out score? He's got dual first support here as well. They're on the chase. Keen, he's looking for the score. And Duel going up to the north, looking for mana. Looks like they're going to try to collapse onto score. Little stun coming in, and they should be able to get this, but Sejuani is so tanky. Finally, he goes down, and Keen and Duel able to pull this one back.
Oh my god, that was such a sick engage, and now they get rewarded with Baron. They've got Counter-Strike. They might be able to tank this. Ella can just give up his life. I think they're going to be able to get this Baron. Talia is coming. I think they have enough time, though.
They got insane damage from these two. Double Rune, Blade of the Rune King, that's going to go down almost immediately. And that's going to go on to 3 members of Ever8. They are making this a game. Kog'Maw and Jax are getting out of control.
That engage was so hype. I've got to see that again. Here we go.
The timing.
All right, so immediately set like, oh, are they face checking? Hell no, they're going in onto this. So they leave Kog'Maw behind right away, and unfortunately the Jax can't find the counter-strike onto Deft immediately. And here we're thinking, okay, KT's won this one. The stun connects onto Deft, but the final crit just deletes him immediately, and that critical strike, that chance, might have just turned the tides forever.
Picking up the kill onto Smeb too, an extra bonus, as I thought he was going to get away, but double ignite on the side here, as Septid will pick up the kill on the backside from the grave. And now with Baron and these crazy carries on the side of Ever8, can KT hold off this push?
Look at Pawn. What's he doing? Why is he bottom lane?
He doesn't have TP.
Okay, so he's just pushing the wave once more, but I guess Ever didn't read this and didn't choose to. They could have just gotten a free inhibitor right there. There was nobody mid.
They're chilling in the red side jungle, getting red for Kog'Maw, and now they're going to push as Pawn makes it back home. So missing the timing, but at least they'll have red buff, I guess.
Kog'Maw does not have flash, but he is super fed. This late game Kog'Maw with Infinity Edge does way more damage.
He's got QSS too, so even if he gets locked down by someone like Sejuani, he's going to be totally fine.
We might have got ourselves the possibility of a 3-game series.
How crazy would it be if KT goes down 2-1 to Ever?
I want it to happen. I don't care who wins or loses. I just want this team to have some confidence in them. Like, if they can start to believe, holy crap, we finally did it, then we can see somebody claw out from the bottom. You know, I don't want to see more of these sad player cams. I want to see somebody be happy that maybe we lost and really learned, or damn, we actually were capable of more than we gave ourselves credit for. But now KT is going to be getting a head start on this Elder, and the Weaver's Wall comes out once again to set a divide.
Perfect. We'll see if they can actually get on top of this once again, like they did onto that Baron. Here comes Keen. He's going in 1v5. He doesn't give a damn. And it doesn't look like he's able to steal it, but he was going in, man. He's not scared of anything at this point.
Mata was the one that secured that Elder Dragon, by the way. Previously capable of stealing dragons with a trample. Once again finds a way to secure it with auto attacks on Braum, or they might have been a Winter's Smite, whatever the case may be. Still not who you expect. Gives you a bit of trouble if your smites go that way when you have Rend as well.
So with 3 dragons here on the side of KT, this isn't Ever8's game just yet. It's still looking pretty dire for KT as they're going up against some pretty ridiculous carries at this point. But they've still got the ace in the hole. They have this very fed Kalista of their own. If they can get a really nice engage and keep Kalista and Taliyah alive, again, it will come down to the execution.
And you know, earlier I was mentioning that I thought that the draft that Ever did was too focused on getting too many things at once. You have Jax that you need to help, you've got the Kog'Maw, but the way that they played it out ended up surprising me. They utilized Aurelion Sol in a different way that I was not accounting for, that they would just utilize him as simply a pillar in the mid lane and just fully focus on the side lanes. The story hasn't been Septid, even though he is 5-1-3 with his kills, barring that great engage onto the Pixel Brush. The story has been fully focused on the side lanes, and so Aurelion Sol gets a step back from the early game, gets to be a lot more passive, and just gives almost like a free lane to Septid. All right, let's find a way to get to the late game, utilizing our picks to allow us to get this to this moment where Kog'Maw can be powerful, and it's been working.
Yeah, it's been working wonders for them. Been feeling pretty good about this Aurelion Sol. He's not the most fed Aurelion Sol we've ever seen. You can see he hasn't finished all 6 of his items just yet, even at 42 minutes into the game, but he should be getting pretty close at this point. Not quite there.
KT can still turn these fights around. However, Pawn needs to truly step up in his position. He's already captain items, so is nearly everybody else on both teams, which would lead us to believe that the Kog'Maw would have a lot more room. But when you have Mata on a Braum, Braum can single-handedly mitigate Kog'Maw's damage with a good Unbreakable, keep him out of the fight, minimize the DPS that comes out of this pick. And that can buy enough time for the rest of KT to mow somebody down. But we have yet to see what they can do with Pawn being present in these fights.
We've had kind of a stalemate, if you will, for the last 2-3 minutes after the Elder Drake was taken by KT. They took that big objective, but they weren't confident to go for a big fight or siege a inhibitor turret or anything like that just yet. But we're just waiting for them to make something happen. There's no big objectives, no Baron, no Elder Drake just yet. And they're going to use Talia's wall once again. Coming on in here, crazy damage as Ever8 is not in position to defend against that wall. They will lose another inhibitor turret.
This turret means that when they get Baron, they're going to be able to force an inhibitor fight or the inhibitor itself. So they're prepping up for the future. They seize the moment, and they're able to get some chunk of the base out of Ever. But that still puts them in a position where they're at a disadvantage when it comes to taking on Kog'Maw. He's already fully built. He's got a Mercurial Scimitar now. That's a lot of crit, and there's only one Randuin's on the side of KT.
Yeah, it means that Camille has to get in position and hold that thought. They're looking for Keen, 1v2. Can they do it? Keen, he's going to have to take the fight. He's not backing off from this one, but I think he might have to. He's trying to get on to Deft, but no, it will not happen. Smeb, with the help of Deft, will take out this big Fed Jax, and that will make it 5v4.
And without Kog'Maw, this could be 2 inhibitors for KT. Ever can choose to take a fight here, but it's going to be so risky. Realistically, they're going to have to wait for Baron to be on KT's side and then fight them with that.
Yeah, not having Jax at this point in the game is gigantic. That's 2 free inhibitors and a great setup there by KT. Didn't seem like Keen had any idea these guys would try to come down bot and snipe him out. But we talked a little bit about, you know, Jax's great ability to retreat in certain situations, but when you're going up against a Camille, you can't. And here we go, 5v4, they're going for the Baron. They have the Callista, the Ren stacks, they're getting big, and Malrang will want that pick. Deft getting extremely low. Malrang's trying to get in on top of him. Score. He's melting at the same time. Baron is still attacking here. Pawn from the right side trying to get out to Duel, but Duel is doing huge amounts of damage. He's still alive. It looks like he's not even going to go down. Deft on the left side. Looks like Keen is going to TP in as well. And I don't know if Mana can save him. It doesn't look like it. Deft, he's going to go down. And that is 4 kills to the side of Ever8.
Oh my God, Duel was doing so much. He was left untouched. He was just wrecking everybody. He was capable of killing the tanks. No, they can't end the game here.
I don't know. That's pretty long death timers. They're going for it.
It's 2 waves of super minions. Jackson Kog'Maw can push like crazy, but I don't know if this is crazy enough. That's 25 seconds onto the Camille. They've got a wave. Oh, I think they've got it. I think they got it.
It looks like they did. 1 team fight was all it took. Mata, he can't do anything at this point. He can't even recall. Malrang is going to stay on him, and that means that game number 2 is going to Ever8. They've done it. They've won a game against KT Rolster.
This is exactly what they need. If they don't wake up and realize that they can be good, I don't know what will. A 13,000 goal lead against Samsung some days ago, and now they win starting from a deficit against KT, utilizing team fight. They need to get some smiles on their face, get the morale up, and fight back, because KT got outplayed in the late game team fights. They got put in a position in Baron where Ever was capable of taking the fight easily, and they did so twice in a row, and now we have a game 3.
It's happening. They're actually challenging this team. This is not what I expected. Ever, especially after game number 1. I don't think anyone could have expected this. Getting a lot of shots of Scepted here. Definitely had a pretty nice game on Aurelion Sol, bringing in this pretty rare pick for LCK and making it work wonders. We look again at the dumbfounded faces of KT, looking pretty disappointed overall. They had an answer for the Jax when they caught him off guard. But even when they caught him and they tried to take the 4v5, the 5v4 with Baron, they still couldn't win the fight because of that Fed Kog'Maw and Scepted on the Fed Aurelion Sol.
Exactly, the way they pulled out of that situation, because they tried to engage at the same time. The call was split. We're going to get just a couple of the plays that happened this game. This is the first big on 5-on-5 where everybody's TPing into this fight. Who doesn't want a piece of the first 5-on-5 in a game? If you're a Jax, typically you don't, but Jax is here in the LCK, loves the team fight, so he was TPing in. and eventually gets a lead strikeout. So this only ended up in 1 kill. Should I take the Lantern? Oh, why? No, you baited me.
Good seismic shove by Pawn. Stelio was good all game. Seismic shoves were on point. His walls were really good.
But his positioning was atrocious at times. And this was the first Baron. Position yourself in the pit when you're dealing with Kog'Maw and Aurelion Sol is never a good idea. Just now, Def gets to fire his first auto attack, but it's already too late. Duel has been doing so much damage, and because the Kog'Maw went unnoticed, he was capable of just having one of the highest EPMs in the game.
This was another fight that KT did barely win Smeb and score pretty far ahead. It was 5v4 at that point, and he got caught out a lot. The Thresh honestly didn't do all too much in this game. Keen really was a hero at times.
This was such a big play, taking down Pawn, who would have been a huge factor come this Baron fight, which was sick. That was blind. They just kind of like, they're here, let's go for it. I don't think we get sight on the minimap here to figure out how they completely knew. But if it was blind, this team has just such... They've got balls to go for that.
They must have had a Warden Baron. I mean, that's got to be the way, because they don't see him pass. And so this was the last fight. You could see Duel and Septid totally protected the entire time.
He sits to Leah, and while the Weaver as well, or the abilities, the Seismic Shove comes through, he's got Heal, he's got Locket, and just barely avoids some of the residual damage at the end, but he's already done enough work, and all to ice it. Keen gets a teleport and locks the kill on Def.
So this is a result that maybe your friends wouldn't believe, but yes, we did have Ever8 taking out KT with a gold deficit, equal kills, equal towers, and less drakes. Really came down to the picks and the plays. Kog'Maw with some ridiculous damage at the end of it all. His positioning was pretty good, but also a failure by KT to actually collapse onto that target in some of those team fights.
None of my friends would be surprised because they all watch League of Legends. You're not my friend if you don't watch League. No, that's not true. Whoever out there somehow listened to this.
Someone's mom's like, oh, I never.